Hi and welcome back to my channel. This is the second video on the Cornely FBN model. This time I'm showing you how to thread the needle. First and most important is the rod, which is up here, needs to be almost the exact size of the cone or spool that you're using, so it rolls off very freely. If the rod is too small, you will have a lot of tilting action, causing disruption to your smooth thread flow. You may need to get these specially made if you're using a different brand of thread. Here I am using Gutermann Ticket 80 in thickness on a plastic reel. The card reels may be a bit smaller if you're using a different company like Coates or even Aman from Germany. You will need to get one or two of these tailor-made specifically for your cones that you're using or spools you're using. Now, I have this threaded through the top hole, not the second hole. Do not use the second hole. Only use the top hole for when the thread is coming off the spool. Go between the tension discs, over the tension wire, the take-up spring, so into the gully of it, before coming around. And what you'll need to do, this gets tricky for this model, you need to remove your thread in order to thread this. You need to keep an eye on your path of thread. So go from the outside into the inside here. I find the hook knife to be a handy tool to pull it in my direction when I need. Again, I'm keeping a very close eye on the path of my thread, making sure it doesn't get caught in the spring or looped over twice. I can pull that through with the excess slack. Now, down the bottom, this is the trickiest part of the threading. Down the bottom here on the inside, you'll find a tiny platform with a hole in it. You might be able to see that in the video. I'm putting the point of the hook knife inside. I need to make sure I've got a clear path, I haven't twisted the thread somewhere else, and pull that through from the top to the bottom. As mentioned, it's a little tricky, so have patience. I'm sorry I'm using black thread, it's all I have in stock at the moment in the correct ticket number. Pull that through carefully and then replace your spool back onto the holder. Again, making sure no twisting has happened. See how we're trying to loop it over here? It's just an automatic process. Once you get the tension right, that problem will not persist. Our next move, again making sure our path, so don't try and thread this way. If your thread's hanging out that way, go back through so the path is not being disturbed. You can see I have a little bit of difficulty with that. That's not me, it's just the process. So keep an eye on that. There are two holes to choose from. I prefer the small one in this lifter, but you'll find the effect will be slightly different through the larger one. So don't be afraid to experiment. If you're finding your stitch quality isn't quite 100%, that may be why. Now, our second step is to go through the machine itself. So that's the same process, exactly the same now for both sides. You need to do both if you have the machine set up for the two needles. Now, below this cutout here, you will find there is actually a pipe, very small pipe opening below it. We need to use our threading wire, take our thread, put it through the threading wire. These are the special long ones needed for this model. Do not think that you'll be able to use the small ones. You must use these long ones. Pull that up into the wire and then down through that hole. This is usually easier if I'm not trying to video, but as I'm trying to keep my hands out of the way, it is a little trickier. Now, I'm working on this side of the machine. Make sure the wire stays on this side of the machine as you pull it through. You may need to create a bit of slack in the thread, which you can do after the tension. And there we have it. Our thread is coming through on the correct side as the thread. The wire will have a tendency to go to the opposite side. Make sure you control that movement, keeping it over to one side. I'll explain the importance of this a bit later. Now, as you've come through from the post, you'll find yet another pipe hole. Again, keeping on the same side of the machine, you need to slip the threading wire down through there. Again, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my hands out of the way. This is actually easier if we're not trying to video it. Push it through. What you'll find, it will spit out at the bottom here. I'll lower the foot so you can see. This is my threading wire here. So it's travelled all the way through the channel to the bottom. Now lift it a little bit, take it out above the foot, not below. If you have to go through underneath the foot, you'll end up damaging the wire, probably beyond repair. It's still going to have a couple of kinks. The wires don't last terribly long when using this model because of that pipe, but there is no other way to fit it through effectively. Now all we have to do is thread the needle. At the moment our bobbin is at the back when I have at the front when I have the handle at the back. What we need to do, of course, is thread through from the front. So bring your handle to the front when threading the machine, keeping the thread on the side. As I've moved the handle now to the other side, that means this is my right side needle, because I've kept the pipes running straight through the machine, the thread running through the one side. I know that when I need to adjust the tension for this needle, that it is definitely this spool up here on the same side that needs adjusting. And this is why I say make sure it doesn't get twisted over at any stage of the pipe threading process. Now, it's a normal sewing machine needle. Here is the ones I strongly recommend. This is called TVX5. It comes in a variety